March 8, 2014. A Boeing 777, carrying 239 people lifts into the night and vanishes. No wreckage, no distress call, no warning. 25 nations searched an ocean twice the size of America. Over a decade later, most of the plane is still missing. This is Malaysia Airlines Flight 370. Flight 370 was a routine journey from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing, 6 hours, 2,700 miles. Aboard were 227 passengers from 14 countries and 12 crew members. Families, students, and honeymooners filled the cabin, unaware this ordinary flight was about to become history's greatest aviation mystery. Passengers boarded just after midnight, a father bringing his kids home. Newlyweds back from honeymoon. Captain Zahari Ahmad Shai and co-pilot Farik Abdul Hamid took the controls. At 12:41 a.m., the jet climbed smoothly to 35,000 feet. Everything looked completely normal, for now. At 1:19 a.m., nearing Vietnamese airspace, the calm reply came, "Good night, Malaysian 370. Those 5 words became the last ever heard from the cockpit. No warning, no hint of what was about to happen next. 2 minutes later, the transponder went dark, not a malfunction, investigators concluded, but a deliberate shutdown from inside the cockpit. Flight 370 stopped broadcasting its identity, altitude, and position to the world. Instead of continuing toward Beijing, the aircraft banked sharply and reversed course back across Malaysia. This wasn't drift or error, it required precise control. Flown low to avoid radar detection, military radar secretly tracked the unidentified aircraft heading toward the Andaman Sea. But this data stayed hidden for days. Search crews wasted that time scouring the wrong ocean entirely, the South China Sea. The jet crossed the Strait of Malacca, pushing toward the Andaman Sea near Sumatra. At 2:22 a.m., radar caught its final position near Penang. Then, nothing. No radar on Earth would ever detect Flight 370 again. Though invisible to radar, a satellite above the Indian Ocean kept receiving faint pings from the plane's systems, proof it flew on, powered, for nearly 7 more hours after vanishing. In Beijing, families crowded the arrival hall, watching a screen that never updated. By dawn, MH370 was the biggest story on Earth, yet nobody could say where the plane actually was. Ships from multiple nations swarmed the South China Sea for days, finding nothing. Then came the data that changed everything. The plane had turned around, meaning crews were in the wrong sea. New calculations combining radar and satellite data showed Flight 370 had flown south into the remote Indian Ocean, ruling out any northern route across guarded airspace. The southern Indian Ocean is one of Earth's most remote places, miles deep, unmapped, unforgiving. Ships turned south as an unprecedented search began. Part 2 reveals what searches would finally uncover. Scientists studied tiny satellite signals exchanged between Flight 370 and an Inmarsat satellite 40,000 miles above. Using subtle shifts in frequency, they reconstructed a possible flight path, a breakthrough never before used to trace a missing aircraft. This analysis produced what became known as the 7th arc, the final satellite handshake, marking roughly where the plane likely ran out of fuel and went down, somewhere deep in the southern Indian Ocean. More than 25 nations joined the search, contributing ships, aircraft, and satellites. Australia led the underwater effort. It became one of the largest international search operations in modern history. Weeks stretched into months with no wreckage found. Search vessels battled brutal seas and equipment failures. For families waiting at home, the uncertainty grew unbearable, with no answers and no closure in sight. In July 2015, 16 months later, a piece of wing wreckage washed ashore on Reunion Island near Madagascar. Officials confirmed it belonged to Flight 370, the first physical proof the aircraft had crashed into the ocean. More debris soon appeared along African coastlines, nearly 30 pieces confirmed in total. Yet the main fuselage and the crucial black box recorders were never found, leaving investigators without the answers they desperately needed. One theory suggests deliberate action inside the cockpit, the precise turn and radio silence matching intentional control, not panic. No motive was ever proven, and the theory remains fiercely disputed by experts and family members alike. Another theory points to catastrophic mechanical failure, a fire or depressurization incapacitating the crew while the plane flew on autopilot for hours. It would explain the silence, but not the deliberate looking turn beforehand. No mystery has sparked more speculation, hijacking plots, secret landings, even shoot-down theories. None hold credible evidence, but with no wreckage recovered, uncertainty left endless room for competing explanations. In 2018, a private company called Ocean Infinity resumed the search using advanced underwater drones, scanning thousands of miles of ocean floor. Despite promising leads, the operation ended once again without finding the wreckage. More than a decade later, families still demand answers, holding memorials each year in Malaysia and China. Many say they will never stop searching, regardless of how many years continue to pass without resolution. The wreckage of Flight 370 has still never been found. But the mystery forced new global aviation rules, requiring aircraft to transmit position far more frequently, making air travel safer for everyone who has flown since. Flight 370 remains suspended between memory and mystery, somewhere beneath the waves. If this story haunted you like it did us, subscribe to Past to Present for more true stories history left behind. Thank you for watching.